All right, guys, The Last of Us Season 3, Episode 2 has premiered, and I want to give you my thoughts on it. So if you haven't seen the episode, go watch the episode because this discussion is going to be filled with spoilers. All right, let's get into it. So, right off the rip, this episode jumps us 3 months after Joel's brutal death by Abby. All right. Ellie's released from the hospital. She goes home. She's, grieving through the death of Joel. And what I really like about this episode that does differently from the game is this episode pretty much focuses on the death of Joel. It gives you a chance to grieve him. One of my favorite scenes in this episode is when Tommy is alone with Joel and he's cleaning his brother off. And these guys have been through the thick and thin, and they've been ride or die, and now his brother is gone. So it's a very emotional moment, very powerful to see Tommy cleaning and gathering his brother's belongings. I also want to give compliments to the writing on this episode for making Ellie more likable in this episode. She's grieving Joel. You can feel that. It's very emotional. Once again, very powerful. You can feel those emotions, and it's very nice not nice, but it's good to see, this play out the way it did. It tugs on the heartstrings, and that's pretty much what we love The Last of Us for. It makes us emotional. That's why we tune in. Yes, the horde, the action, all that is great. We love those elements of the show, but it's also great to take a step back and get those emotional beats that, really hit home in a lot of scenarios. Maybe not the exact same way, but hits home. Well, as we move on, we see that Ellie wants to go on this revenge quest that she is touting as a justice quest. So she goes to the city council, with the request. At the end of the day, the council denies that request. They're not sending 16 people to go, get revenge for Joel. And one thing that's a very standout moment of that whole council scene is when Steph stands out, played by RoboCop 3 himself, John Burke. He stands up and, basically is calling people cowards. Like, if you let people come into your town and, do something bad to your people and you do nothing about it, it makes you look weak. Basically opens you up for more. I respect his opinion, but at the same time, you go to the other side of it. The town had just lost a lot of people. Just losing 16 people to go out on a revenge quest I guess wasn't in the cards at the moment, which is totally understandable. But, I get Ellie's point too. So Ellie basically just doesn't take that answer. She's like, no, I'm going to go do it anyway. So she goes home, she's packing everything. And the only thing she packs is guns and ammo and things like that, maybe a little bit of food, but she doesn't pack the necessities. And that is where Dina comes in. And once again, I really appreciate them making me like Dina more in this episode. She had a plan. She knew exactly what they needed to do. She's like, you're only carrying these things. What about the bear mace? What about food? We're only carrying the things that we need on our back. Respect goes to Dina for understanding the situation and knowing that, hey, we're going to need more than just guns to kill Abby. We're going to need to survive the trip to Seattle and survive the trip back. You know what I'm saying? So, but, then the episode kind of, we veer off a little bit and we finally get to meet the group that we know as the Seraphites, a religious sect, that doesn't like technology and basically believes that they should be living off the land. You know what I mean? The cordyceps are some type of divine punishment. And they kind of, they're scared of something. They disappear for a little bit and we kind of lose track of them for a little while. But then we get back with Dina and Ellie and they're taking their trip to Seattle, which okay. In the game, it felt like stupid writing to me, and it also feels like stupid writing to me in the show. Is like, hey, rate this kiss, da da da, and I get they're 19, whatever, blah blah blah. But I mean, like, I don't know. It just feels like silly writing to me in the game and in the show. It's like talking about rating this kiss and stuff like that. And I get it. They're flirting. They're trying to be affectionate with each other. I just feel like there was a better way to get that across. But it is still, it was fine. As they keep going on their trip, they finally come across the Seraphites, and find that they're dead. Dina gets sick, which kind of hints at something, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, they find the body of the Seraphites, the leader with his daughter, which is crazy. And I guess that kind of justifies them thinking, they kind of confuse it and think that it was done by Abby and her group. And I guess that kind of justifies how they're feeling and thinking that these people are monsters. Not only did they do this to Joel, but they're willing to do this to these people and children. So yeah, I mean, like, I guess it's kind of justifying what they've got going on more. So as the story continues, they're approaching Seattle. They get to Seattle, and basically when they get there, they see that it's not as overrun as they think, or so they think. There's not as many, they're not being shot at, and there's not soldiers just openly out in the open and stuff like that. Little do they know that the town is overrun with Washington Liberation Front members. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. And overall, this episode was better than, I believe, the writing in the first two episodes. I feel like there was a lot to be desired in the first two episodes as far as the writing. This episode does a better job with that. But there is one thing, for the people who played the game and for the people who are watching the show, I know they feel that there's this gaping hole that is, that just feels like something is missing. And that's Joel. That's Joel's presence. If that's Joel in the video game, or if that's Joel played by Pedro Pascal, you can feel that presence missing. And I hope that Bella Ramsey and Isabella Marcet can carry this show. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's other actors in it as well, but the main focus is definitely on Bella Ramsey. I hope that she can carry this show. She has the gravitas to, push the momentum forward. And, I'm excited and I'm hopeful for the show. This episode has definitely got me more hopeful for the show. So yeah, overall, I believe that this was a better episode. I hope that episode 4 continues the momentum, and that, that we can feel fulfilled with this season overall. But those are my thoughts. I would love to know what you guys think down below. Let me know in the comment section. And if you like this video, hit that like button. And if you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. It always helps the channel grow. I will see you guys in the next one. As always, peace.